Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another installment of everyone's favorite short show on the internet. This is Storytime with Jimmy, where you get to hear exclusive stories from the career of longtime WWE referee, my pal Jimmy Korderas. And Jimmy, this week I thought we would dive into a story that I thought was kind of funny. About a time in the WWE when we saw a match between the team of Mercury and Morrison when they were managed by Melina against London and Kendrick, and the circumstances around that match and especially the end of that match were pretty unique, and you figured into them pretty prominently.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. It was Judgment Day 2006. It was for the WWE Tag Team Championships. So in a nutshell, trying to make this long story short, they were having a great match. I mean, I think London and Kendrick were very underrated. They were a great tag team. Mercury and Morrison were fantastic, but they're having a great match, and during talking over this match, they wanted to do something unique in the finishing sequence, as far as a false finish or near fall, something to break it up that hasn't been done before and very unique. So Paul London had tagged in for the hot tag, and he was going to town on both Mercury and Morrison. Mercury was legal. So they got to a spot where he bumped Mercury right near the ropes, and Mercury was parallel with the ropes. And just then, Morrison comes in, he comes to interfere, and he gets shot to the outside. And before London can make the cover, Morrison jumps back up on the apron. London does this beautiful drop kick, but as he drop kicks Morrison, he backflips and lands perfectly, splashing Mercury for a cover, for a pin attempt. So I dive down and I count 1, 2, and right there, before I can count 3, Melina slides in under the bottom rope and does this ear-piercing scream, legit ear-piercing scream, which shocks me into preventing me from making the third count. Now, literally, no joke here, I still hear better out of my left ear than my right ear, thanks to that. But the idea there was, when they were going over this in the back, they were trying to think of something unique, something different, something that had been done before. And for some reason, this popped in my head because Melina is known for those loud shrieks. So I suggested it to them, and they said, yeah, let's do it. And I don't know, there's a nice sense of Barry Horowitz patting yourself on the back when you hear that they like your idea and they try it. But that wasn't the end of it.
Of course.
My interactions with Melina, because after the match, London and Kendrick win the match. They're leaving the ring, and after the match, they get upset. Morrison and Melina gets, there's so many M's in there. Mercury and Morrison get upset with Mercury, and that's when the turn happens, where they start beating him down. I'm outside the ring at this point, but I slide back in the ring, and because Melina was assisting in the beatdown, I tried to, as politely as possible, pull her off Mercury, and then we end up arguing face to face, and she winds up and pulls a John Cena on me with the punt. So I go down, of course, and sell that as best I could. I just stayed out of the way after that, of course. The thing is, everybody asks me, like, how that looked vicious. How did it not hurt? Did you not feel it? I did feel it, but I didn't feel it the way people think, because while I was on the outside before this was happening, I knew I was going to take this kick to the nether regions. So I creatively slid my hand down my pants and inside my my tighties, and I lifted up my brother's Johnson and tucked him as high as I could, because not that I didn't trust her, but
you didn't trust her.
That would be the first time I was going to get. Let's okay. I didn't trust her, so she didn't get the yam bag. It was all taint, which was fine. But
so wait, when did you do this adjustment? Yeah. Was this in the back or some point, secretly during the match?
No, it was while I slid out after the finish, and I let them have the ring so they could do the turn on Mercury. And I knew I had to slide back in and take the punt. So while I was sitting ringside, I kind of kneeled down on one
Oh my
knee
God.
and kind of hid behind the barrier there and kind of readjusted myself.
You imagine some kid in the front row who was right next to you was like, "Mommy, what's that referee doing?"
I was trying to be as discreet as possible. I mean, there is a lot of people watching you, so
Yeah, you got to be careful in those kinds of instances. Um, that that's happened to you a lot, right? Where you pitched an idea, whether it was a finish or some kind of spot, and they end up going with it. And you're right, that has to be the best feeling in the world. Like from a booking perspective, whenever I come up with a finish, an angle, a spot, and the talent look at you and go, "Oh yeah, we can work with that." It's the greatest feeling.
it is a great feeling. And when you get to that stage in your career where the guys feel so comfortable with you and they're going over an idea or going over a match, and they turn to you and they say, "What do you think of that? Jimmy, what do you think of that? Does that work?" At one point, I'm going, okay, I'm thinking it over, trying to help and say, yeah, that makes sense. That works. That doesn't bury the referee. That doesn't make me look stupid. And it works for its purpose, if it's a spot to get the heel some heat. But at the same time, I'm also thinking, this is the coolest feeling ever, that they feel that way. They feel confident enough to ask me my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never interject myself like and say, hey, guys, that's all wrong. You're doing it wrong. I'm not that type of guy. You know me. I'm very polite in how I present myself, and that's how you got to be.
Yeah, of course you are, and that's the way it should be. Did you have any sort of reservations though about setting yourself up to have Melina screaming in your face?
No, I didn't even think of that. I figured, it's different, and it kind of, in my mind, made sense because if you hear any ear-piercing sound, anything very loud, it automatically distracts you. It takes your attention away. Yeah. So that was my thought process.
You know what? It's so much better than the tag teams that break up a pin. Here's one of my biggest pet peeves: is as an official, this has to bother you too. A man is covering another guy, and the one who's getting pinned is about to get saved by the partner. The partner runs in, and instead of pushing the guy off or kicking him in the head and forcing him to sell off, they just hit him in the back. He's still pinning the man. And as far as I'm concerned, that shouldn't stop the count. He's still pinning the man, right? Like the partner comes in and hits him in the back of the head. Why does the referee stop counting? The pin is still happening. The shoulders are still down. The man is still lateral pressed. So I have full respect for creative pin breakups that make sense.
I do too. That's another pet peeve of mine. I mean, somebody walks in and does a drive-by kick on the back. I mean, come on. That's supposed to break up the pin. It doesn't break up the pin. If anything, it actually assists the pin.
Yeah, you just knocked out the guy pinning, and now he can't roll off of the guy. And now he's dead weight on top of your partner. Yeah, that's craziness. And then the nut shot, whose idea was that?
I don't know who came up with that. They just told me it was coming. So I figured, okay, you do what they ask you to, if they ask you to take a bump, take what kind of things are you? And then when they say to you, there's a way they say it to you too. Are you okay with that? There's a difference in tone when they say, whether there's concern or whether you better be okay with that.
Translation: are you okay with that? Means this is what's happening, so get on board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're not okay with that, we'll replace you with someone else in this spot.
Right. Exactly. But when they preface the question with, are you planning to have children in the near future? That gets scary.
My last question before we wrap this up, because you talked about that exact spot, can you remember a time when either a shot to the boys or some kind of a planned spot, other than, you've talked about the Jimmy Hart one that happened at WrestleMania, Did you ever take like a shot like that where you figured, oh yeah, I'm in good hands with so and so, but something went amiss and and the cell was a shoot?
Yeah, there was one at another WrestleMania 15, I want to say, with Tori Wilson and Sable.
Okay. It's
where
always the women.
It was a women's title match, and they were doing a spot where Tori was hitting the ropes. She was going to come across and crossbody Sable. Sable ducks. I'm standing behind, and I take a crossbody across the chest, and I was going to land and sell the back of my head and stuff like that. It wasn't a crossbody across the chest.
Right,
she came a little lower than
right.
that.
I've seen that.
And so I didn't sell the back of my head. I sold, can I say this? I sold a different head.
I love it. And that, I mean, that's one of those situations where that's not what you were expecting. That's not this. That's
No.
not what was in the cards.
No. You know what? It makes me think, give me a boot in the head by Taker. Give me a punch in the eye from Animal. I'll do any of that stuff. I've had my thumb almost ripped off, but please stay away from that area.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your pal, Jimmy Korderas. If there's anyone from the world of professional wrestling that Jimmy may have run across over his long and lengthy career that you want to hear a story about, get at us, questions at hugepopradio.com. Thanks, Jim.